Know what you're thinking? Oh no, we get them both. This is a tradition at VNC at the beginning of the year. It's a very important tradition. Sean and I meet with you at the beginning of the year, and you might be thinking, oh, just preach. Just give us the word. Well, we're going to give you the word. But why we do this is very, very important. We need to consistently clarify, make sure we are on the same page, the vision of VNC. I think it's also an opportunity for you to hear our hearts. As Sean and I co-pastor this church, there ought to be a time when you hear our hearts, because it's about very intentional life change and very intentional purpose. Because you bring your talent and your life into VNC, and your talent, you almost should be saying, I can't tell you what I'm supposed to do until I know the story of why I'm here. We want to help you know the story of why you're here today. And maybe you're visiting today. You're saying, this is my first Sunday. It's a different kind of a Sunday. No, it's backwards. If you happen to be visiting today, you are lucky. You have hit the perfect Sunday. Because I think people visit a church to see, do I want to be a part of this church? Do I want to be a part of this congregation? They come with so many questions. See, if you're visiting today, it's perfect for you, because a lot of those questions are going to get dealt with right here and now. We're going to start with our mission statement. A mission statement declares what we're trying to accomplish. There's a great leadership statement that says, it makes no difference who you are, whether you're General Motors or a little bicycle shop. You need a mission statement, because without that, you don't know what you're doing. If you can't clarify in one sentence what you're trying to accomplish, then maybe you don't know what you're trying to accomplish. So every organization, whether the size is immaterial, what's your mission statement? Ours is very simple, very memorizable. Helping people become fully devoted followers of Christ. Helping you become a fully devoted follower of Christ. As you think about that for 1 second, it meets everybody's need. You're saying, whoa, 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 Gene. I'm not really a follower of Christ. I'm here, I'm kind of investigating. I haven't committed my life to Christ. I think I'm getting information. Our desire for you is to help you become a fully devoted follower of Christ. Maybe you're a brand new believer. We want to help you become a more devoted follower of Christ. Maybe you've been following Christ for 40 years. We want to help you become an even more devoted follower of Christ. As you think about our mission statement, no matter where you are on some kind of a spiritual spectrum, it fits you. We need to hear that over and over and over and over and over. Because it's not just the church DNA, it's got to be your DNA. And so as we do this once a year, the kind of the beginning of the calendar year, spend some time talking about what we're trying to accomplish, you probably hear it over and over. Hear it in the worship services. You hear it today. Because we need to make sure it's in your heart. That's what we're trying to accomplish. The direction of this church over and over and over. Something else as we kind of begin kind of defining some things. You've heard us talk to VNC as the tribe and calling you a tribe. You know, that almost sounds awkward in a way, doesn't it? It's a cult. It's a tribe. I'm visiting here and they call themselves a tribe. When do the snakes come out? But as you think about the actual definition of tribe, it's perfect. The actual definition of a tribe is a group of people, individuals, working towards a common goal. A group of individuals working towards a common goal, helping you become fully devoted follower of Christ. So as you think about the actual definition of what a tribe is, there's probably no more perfect term than as we talk about us as a congregation, as a family, as a body of believers, as those that worship here, as a tribe moving forward together. We want to apply this mission to everything we're doing as we go forward. But first, there's some logic in realizing never go forward till you understand where you've been. Sean's going to take a few moments and walk you through a little bit of the past.
Well, one of the things that we like to do is when we do this, it's also accountability. For you to know exactly where we've been this past year, things that we've been a part of, things we've done. And, you know, I don't know if your life is like mine, but sometimes I believe that our schedules get in the way of us celebrating. Because we're so busy, we start thinking about the next thing that has to be done that we don't stop and celebrate what just was accomplished. And so this morning, this is almost like a State of the Union address. If you hear something you like, cheer. This is your time to get rowdy. Now, if it's something you don't like, don't boo. Don't throw anything. Just shake your head. Then we'll know. We'll know where you're at. But this is a day for us to celebrate. And there have been things that have happened in 2016 that have been absolutely mind-boggling. When we hear stories of life change, we see stories where people have dedicated their lives in new and profound ways, where we have helped folks financially. We've helped people eat on Thanksgiving. So what we've got is we got a little highlight video we'd like to show you of 2016. Do you just sit and go, man, that was a whole year and wrapped up in about 90 seconds? A whole year. Things that have been happening. We want to take a moment and just think. Just think all of the people that made 2016 possible. From the leadership team of your elected laymen and women that have served us, staff, department leaders, all from the school that happens here on Monday through Friday, to the volunteers that make every Sunday morning and Wednesday night take place, people that run funeral dinners. I mean, the amount of volunteers is staggering, what it happens in the life of VNC, so we thank you for that. This past year in 2016, we also started talking about almost a refining of the vision of what we're doing. As Pastor Tanner was talking about, that we want to help people become fully devoted followers of Jesus Christ. And this fall, we laid out a schematic plan of what that would look like, that we talked about in Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16, that Jesus called us to be the light of the world. And that passage is, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. That we decided that we need to kind of fine-tune some of the things that we're doing. Not that what we were doing was bad, but we want to just hunker in just a little tighter. And look at this, that when Christ in chapter 5 of Matthew, when he says, you are the light of the world, all through Scripture, he refers to himself as the light. But in Matthew chapter 5, he goes, you are the light. Almost saying that as I ascend into heaven now, you are my hands and feet on earth. I'm calling you out. And we talked about this year that we were going to focus that LED, that we were going to be the light of the world, that we were going to focus on leadership. In Ephesians 4, 11 through 12, where it said that so Christ himself gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the pastors, and the teachers to equip his people for works of service so that the body of Christ may be built up. That we wanted to hone in on leadership, that it's more about encouraging, equipping, and empowering people to serve. that we want to do everything we can to help you and to help us. If we're really going to reach our mission of helping people become fully devoted followers of Jesus Christ, that we got to equip you, we got to empower you, and we got to encourage others to serve. That you've got to equip and empower and encourage others to serve as well. That we want to really hone in on evangelism. In Acts 1:8 it says, "But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witness in Jerusalem and in Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth." That we want to really focus on this, that our personal life matters. That evangelism is becoming intentional and missional while we live in the tension between our creed and our deed. That what we say we are and what we actually live out they're the same. That when people see us, they know exactly what we stand for. As we tackled this past year in 2016, you've seen, and also in 15, the 500 turkeys, Night to Shine, our Serve Day, that we have found partnerships in St. Louis with Kevin Hancock and in Greece with the Herndons, our missionaries there. That we want to continue to love our neighbors as we did in 2016. We just want to do it bigger and better in better ways in 2017 as well. That we really wanted to focus in on discipleship this year. 2016, we honed in on what it would look like to live in that tension between knowledge and becoming. In Colossians chapter 1, verses 9 through 11, it says this: "For this reason, since the day we heard about you, we have not stopped praying for you. We continually ask God to fill you with the knowledge of His will through all the wisdom and understanding that the Spirit gives, so that you may live a life worthy of the Lord and please Him in every way, bearing fruit in every good work, growing in the knowledge of God, being strengthened with all power according to His glorious might, so you may have great endurance and patience." That our discipleship is more than just going to life groups and being in this group every once in a while or taking some classes, but it is about living in that tension that we've got to gain knowledge. We do have to learn, but we also have to live it out. In 2016, we began stressing this part of living it out as well. That we live in community, that we live in the accountability to each other, and we live missionally, reaching our neighbors, reaching those in our workplaces, our family, our friends. This fall, we've continued to etch out. We kept talking about the kingdom experience. You'll see that this fall in 2017 as well. That we felt like that if we're really going to help people become fully devoted followers of Jesus Christ, if you look at the intrinsic circles that'll be up on the screen, that to really hit that we need to live in this leadership and evangelism and discipleship, that they overlay each other. And that's exactly where we want to be. That's exactly where we want to be. So everything that we've done through 2016 has led us to this point, has led us to where we're heading in 17 as well. That we don't want to be a mile wide and an inch deep. We don't want to be stagnant believers, and we don't want to just be a holy country club. That we want to be a community of believers, full of those who are fully devoted followers of Jesus Christ. We also want to take today and we want to be accountable to you on the finances. As we meet regularly with your elected leadership team, a church board, we share with them, and if you are part of the giving, you give here faithfully, then you see your giving statements, you know exactly where you're at as well. And we put the information in that quarterly email that goes out. But we also are accountable to our leadership team. But we want you to be aware where we're at in 2016, where we landed financially. We graph or chart three giving areas, three main giving areas. Now, there's other monies that come in for different things and different events. That's not what we're talking about today. The three areas that we graph and we keep real tight records on is our tithes and offering. So that's the money that comes in, you give, that is undesignated. You've not given it a purpose. It is just part of your tithes and offerings. And at that point, we have raised about 96% of what we thought we would raise for tithes and offerings. The building, or you'll hear about side by side, what we do to pay off the mortgage. The building, we raised 112%. We have made a commitment the last few years that everything that we give above and beyond the actual mortgage, the cost of the mortgage, we put on to the principal. Missions is the things that we do, or we're giving back. We're part of the World Evangelism Fund to the Church of the Nazarene that keeps our missionaries on the field, but also what we're doing here in evangelistic efforts through Night to Shine and through our Faith Promise, Night to Shine, 500 Turkeys, Serve Day, mission trips, those things, all the missions, we raised about 92% of what was given. Now, there are some monies that have come in that are totally designated for an event. That's not counted in here. So overall, that's pretty good, right? I mean, that's pretty healthy. Yeah, we're pleased. One of the things that we want to stress to you, because one of the things we hear, and I don't know if you hear this, or maybe you've even feel this deep down, all that churches want is my money. That's all they want. They just want money. You've seen the cars Gene and I drive. We want your money. No. You know what it is? It would probably be a pretty puny God if we really believed he needed our money. It would be a pretty puny God if we believed that all the church needs is more money for him. Really, when we give back, it's for us. Even though we're giving it away and we're saying take it and use it and serve and give to others, it's really a blessing to us. I know that when we sit down and when my wife and I, Ashley and I, sit and we talk about our finances and we talk about the money we give, it's become a thing that we challenge ourselves to do more. To do more. It is amazing what God does in our lives. And others of you that have come to me and you've said, there are people that come and say, I can't wait to write that check. I can't wait to make that commitment online. I can't wait because I know what God's going to do for me. This isn't about us. This isn't about God needs your money, needs my money. I mean, he created 1,000 cattle on the hill, right? He doesn't need our money. But what he needs is our obedience. And he's called us to do this. And so today we want to be accountable to you. This is what we've done. And this is where we're going. And 2016 was that year where a lot has happened.
Sean shared a little bit about side by side. I think we need to define this. It's what we're doing together. And it's based on an Old Testament episode. Nehemiah is coming into Jerusalem. And as he comes into the sacred, beloved city of Jerusalem, he sees the walls are as shambles. And they're coming apart. And sometimes I think if you're at some place for a long time and you see things come apart gradually, you don't realize it. He hadn't been there for a long time. He comes back and he sees the shape of the walls. And Nehemiah is so distraught. When he sees the shape of the walls protecting the beloved Jerusalem, he falls on his face and cries out to God. He says, God, what are they doing? The walls that protect the city of Jerusalem are in ruins. God, raise somebody up. You don't want to do that. Because God said, I was waiting for someone who had a passion for those walls. Raise somebody up. How about you? Nehemiah, you lead the nation in rebuilding those walls. And Nehemiah took on the task. And they all worked in harmony, side by side, working towards building the walls. And really, as you think about it, that's a tribe working together towards a common goal. He turned that city into a tribe, and he reminded them over and over and over and over the mission. That's why Nehemiah, a lot of people call the great leadership book, because Nehemiah's leadership is great leadership. He brings them together, gives them a common goal, understand the task, remind them over and over the mission. He understood things get done when you clarify what you're doing. And it's tough. The walls were so pathetic that they couldn't just build. They had to kind of tear down what was there and begin from scratch. So a city without walls is vulnerable. They had to guard the city. So buckle up for this. They had teams that were guarding the city. I'm holding like a gun as if they had it. Guarding the city. And people building. And then they had shift change. They would change shifts. The guarders became the builders, and the builders became the people on guard. And family by family, they began in their own homes and then built out from there, constantly changing shifts because they had to guard all the time. And the scripture says they kept this pace, guarding and building, teams back and forth, tribe. That they actually rebuilt the walls the way they needed to be in record time. What a victory. Talk about a tribe moving together. Side by side, the wall was complete. Entire families. Now, participation equals ownership. That's kind of an old statement, but that's true. I imagine there were children that worked on that wall, doing something. Maybe they just carried the tools back and forth, but those kids grew up and had kids. I bet they took their kids and say, look right here. Here's where I built. And then their kids had kids. Come here. This is what Grandpa did. The wall you have today, This right here is where I worked. You know they did that. They had ownership in that thing, that side by side. There was a pride to it. There was a joy to it. There was a memory to it. And so we have decided that is a reasonable title. That's why we call our building pledges side by side. It's something we're doing as a tribe, side by side, to make sure that our mortgage month by month by month is paid. And we do this once a year. We've made a pretty clear decision, and I thought Sean articulated it really well. One of Satan's lies, and he's a great liar. Satan, whenever you talk about anything finance, Satan always comes with the same old lie. All they care about is your money. Oh, please, take a day off. Come join us in reality. Reality. Who doesn't love reality? But there is a reality. And now what we could do is have funds come in and maybe fall a little short, and the last Sunday of every month say, we're a little short. Let's pass those plates one more time. You don't want that. We don't want to do that. Then you feel like crying out loud every time you turn around. What would happen if we could make an emphasis on side by side once a year? And we've decided March. March tends to be the time that we've read is more effective. People have their taxes coming back and different things. So we make pledges in the fall preparing for what we believe we can do in the March. The money to be collected in March to go towards side by side. And we have the wall out there, and as the funds come in, we take the numbers down. But the bottom line really is everybody participating side by side. Now, you saw the statistics that Sean put up. The fact of the matter is, we've never been late, never missed a payment in the entire time of this building. Over and above that, we have side by side has been effective enough that we've not only collected the funds to make our payments without having to come to you over and over, but on top of that, we've paid down the principal. We've attacked principal in addition to making our payments. That's health. And that's a big deal. That changes our life. So we're coming into side by side. Here's a little bit of a challenge. Have you talked about it at home? This is not a private thing. Do your kids know what you're doing? Because your kids tomorrow will be adults. And I want them to say, Mom and Dad sacrificed for this. And they'll have kids. And I want them to say, Grandma and Grandpa, this facility that we have that's used so many different ways, Grandma and Grandpa sacrificed, and now we sacrifice for this. We're not giving a dime to VNC. This is kingdom stuff. And the tribe, side by side, we make our pledges. And in March, we make that payment. I wonder, is there a unique blessing married to a step of faith? The challenge is, are you involved on the wall? Everyone participating. And as the pledges have come in, we've taken numbers off the wall. There are numbers representing dollar amounts. Some people will take one number off or pledge one number off. Some people say, I'm pledging so much, you'll take a lot of those numbers off. We kind of see where we are. The numbers come off the board. And when those numbers come off that board, it really is a statement of sacrifice. It's a family example. And by the way, that's heritage here. VNC has, whether we were redesigning the building we had downtown, that was sacrificial giving. Those that have gone before us have sacrificed to make that building downtown happen, then buying the land out here, and then building out here, and then building this. The heritage of VNC, those that have gone before us, our people have great sacrifice. They've participated, and they're part of the eternal destiny of this church. We're being a witness. I'm not trying to guilt anybody, but have you talked? This is a teaching moment for your kids. We want them to grow old remembering what you have done and what I have done. If you have not filled out a pledge card, they'll be out there in the foyer, and maybe first time you're really hearing about it, taking the time to explain it. They'd fill out a pledge card, so a lot of those numbers will disappear. And I like to think in terms of the enemy. The Bible talks about this. It says, who goes to war with 10,000 men knowing the enemy has 20,000 men? What football team doesn't know? Do those guys pass well or run well? I always feel like, what does the enemy do? And I know, I wasn't born yesterday. I know Satan is speaking right now. You can't afford anything. What's his weapon? Discouragement? I wasn't here when they built this thing. Why would I take responsibility? Fear? Isn't fear a great tool? Selfishness? I wonder what he's using. Now, let me tell you, let me break that down a little bit. He doesn't care about it. He doesn't care about your sacrifice. He doesn't care about your money. What he cares about is a potential blessing for you. If you make a step of faith and you have a win, you're going to be anxious for another win. If he could stop you from the first blessing, if he could stop you from the first step of faith, if he could block this, then he has won a major issue with you. I wonder where he's attacking. And I don't want to get too deep into this, but I felt it'd be okay. I want to be incredibly vulnerable with you. Tammy and I, and transparent, I guess, Tammy and I lived in our home now for about 9 years. Our home was built in the 70s. And the kitchen that exists when the home was built in the 70s is there now. So picture in your mind those kitchens, they were all white, in the 1970s. You walk in our kitchen, you think Disco's alive. And you think the Bee Gees are still number one. It screams the 70s. Not only is it incredibly old, but because it's so old, none of the cabinets work. So we have Scotch tape underneath all of our cabinets. You get into a cabinet, get what you want, and then you reseal it. I know, how classic can you be? I have made this promise to Tamara. We've been saving for this 2017. We're redoing it. It's going to be completely up to snuff, finally, for the first time since we've ever lived there. And again, we've only lived there for 9 years. So this spring, we're going to attack that kitchen. Now, we're very fortunate. We're a two-car family. I do a lot of calling. I live in my car. My car is my office. I don't want Tammy to be stranded. So we have a car for her. So we're very fortunate. We have a two-car family. Understand, there are guys out there, you get your cars going for 150,000 miles because you understand cars. Uncle Gene doesn't. And I have a guy that kind of oversees, and I take our cars. He changes the oil because I don't know. You're supposed to change the oil? He lets me know. He really oversees. He does a great ministry to me. And Tammy's car's hitting that 100,000-mile mark. They say, this has got to be replaced, this replaced. I took it to him. He did the oil. He said, okay, next time you come, let's make a note. Next thing, we got to replace your tie rods. That's the thing in my closet. I hang my ties. I don't know what a tie rod is. Are there 6, 7, 8, 10, 20? Are there 20 tie rods in the car? Is all the tie rods in the front got to be replaced? He said, you realize this has got to nickel and dime you from now on. And about the time our cars hit 100,000 miles, I trade them in because I don't know what I'm doing. So this spring, Tammy's car is gone. So we're kind of wrestling through some things in our own home. It's one of those years, kitchen, car, both got to happen. You know what that is? It's called life. You live it. I can bring all of you up here and say, tell me, what's staring you in the face right now? The fact of the matter is, you got stuff, expensive stuff that's coming around the turn. It's called life. And nothing shocking here. That's transparency. That's where I'm at right now. I'm dealing with this. And I want just not to brag, not to make a big deal, but Tammy and I pledged $6,000. Why? With that stuff coming at you, we're on the wall. We're on the wall. And there's a blessing there. I know life hits you. It does. And you got stuff coming at you because you're a human being and you live the world that I do, and sometimes things come at you you didn't even see coming. Some of you, frankly, can pledge a whole lot more. You're in a different financial world than I am. Some of you really need to pledge a whole lot less because I may be in a stronger position than you are. The bottom line is every single one of us are on the wall, participating at some level. I want to challenge you. Take that step of faith because I'm convinced that God uses everything to shape us. He shapes us spiritually. He shapes us in our servanthood, reaching out to others. I think he shapes us in stewardship. I've discovered when I give, I become less greedy. Because one of my downfalls, it's easy for me to be greedy. I look over my finances very carefully and I pray, God, shape me. Use these episodes, shape me. My prayer, God in heaven, shape us. Unleash this giant in what you want to do for us. One more thing I want to talk to you about. Again, another challenge. It's in clarifying our values. We're convinced at VNC life change happens in the home. Worshiping here is absolutely vital. In fact, you know the Bible talks about Sunday worship? It says, never stop meeting together, because it's saying this is important. The tribe has got to be together. And while we acknowledge this truth, we realize the incredible importance of us being together. The Bible is right. Never stop meeting together. We need teaching at a more intimate level. And this is the church you can get lost at if you want to. So life groups have become extremely important in helping you become a fully devoted follower of Christ. Life groups are tending to be people, about 12 to 16 people. Some are couples, some are singles. They meet on their own schedule. Some meet every week, some meet every other week. They meet in the home. There's a fellowship and a study. They're studying everything from spiritual marriages to raising our kids, whatever season of life you're in, preparing financially, spiritually, a different book in the Bible. They study what they feel they want to grow at. And the goal is to bring each other along spiritually. You're saying, Gene, this is great. I need to make friends. Yeah, you do. But that's not the goal. That's a symptom. That's a wonderful symptom. The goal is a safe place to share my heart, to have someone care about my life and let me care about their life. And the Bible is pretty clear about how we invest our time. It's the theme verse for life groups. You need to see it again. Come on. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. Spend time with the wise and you become wise. Spend time with fools, you'll suffer. Spend time with the wise, you become wise. But then it says, spend time with fools. You feel like I should say, and you become a fool. If you spend time with the wise, you become wise. Fools, it doesn't. It says, spend time with wise and you'll become wise. Spend time with fool and you'll suffer. In other words, a fool always goes down. They're going to pull you with them. They're going to take you down with them. So where do you invest your time? You say, you know, Gene, I'm not in a life group. I need to invest my time with wise people. Well, Welcome Center, Information Center. Stop there and say, talk to me more about life groups. God spoke to me today. Oh, Gene, my schedule is so full. You want me to add an evening? I don't want to guilt you, but maybe we should look carefully at how I invest my free time. Have I invested my time or wasted my time? If I'm not in a life group, consider the value. I'm not selling a product, but we're interested in you becoming a fully devoted follower of Christ. We've been talking about your home and your influence, whether it's side-by-side campaign and your stewardship teaching or your life group and stewardship of time. Understand, we're not offering something to you. We want to be something with you. And this leads me just very briefly to the next few weeks in February. I'm going to be teaching the series at February's Valentine month, the month of love. The series is Kingdom Homes. For the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be teaching because I am absolutely, positively convinced the battleground is the home. Satan is attacking the home. And a lot of times you say, Gene, you tend to go there because that's where we got to spend time. This is where we need to respond and teach each other. I'm going to be teaching on love, marriage, children, our homes next week. Because everything we practice, we live. We live what we're practicing. You know, when I was a sinner, I practiced sinning. I knew how to get better at it. I was rationalizing it. You cannot transform your own life. Grace. Christ transforms, and now I am practicing following Jesus. This journey of getting stronger. VNC wants to partner with you purposely in this practice. It's not, well, we invite, come to church with me. It's come join me on a journey. Attendance is not so much the bottom line, but it's a journey. But there's a priority of the journey. Here's the hurt. The national average, not this church, although we're probably guilty, not the Church of the Nazarene, but the national average. Those that attend church regularly, the national average is 1.8 times a month. I attend church regularly, the national average is 1.8 times a month. If that's true, how can we partner with you? Where's the passion? Passion is described as life energy. Let us partner with you. Say, 2017 is my year. I accept the challenges. I'm jumping into what we're trying to accomplish. God, could I care about what you care about? I am making this my year. I've got good news. No matter what you're going through, Jesus is Lord. Let's broaden our global footprint. Sean wants to share a little bit about globally.
Well, this summer we do have 2 groups that'll be heading out to St. Louis. Our team that'll be heading to St. Louis and partnering with Kevin Hancock. We got a group going to Greece. that'll be working with Josh and Shannon Herndon, which is a continuation of the West Med partnership with Spain, Portugal, France, and Italy. But Greece is a pioneer work in the Church of the Nazarene. We don't have anything there right now. Nothing. Zero. And Josh and Shannon have left Spain, and they are heading there. We've had them on Skype. We've had them in person here sharing about the story in Greece. That is coming this summer. Also, some things that will be taking place in 2017. You will begin to see in the coming weeks section leaders, people that are here to help us in these groups throughout the room that help us learn how to live in community even better in the groups in the sanctuary. You will see in life groups, as Gene was talking about life groups, there's a new group that will be starting here in the fall. You'll see information about a simulcast in the spring about blended families. The challenge that blended families, those people that are coming in with second and third marriages, with his, hers, and theirs, and how does this all work together? Blended families, you'll see a ton of information coming in this spring about that. Also, in just a few days, Friday night, we have Night to Shine. And I want to share this one quick information with you. That a few weeks ago, we posted on social media a video about the highlight of last year's Night to Shine. Now, typically, when we post something on Facebook and it goes out to the people, we've got about 2,000 followers or so. But usually our videos or our information, our posts will reach 1,000 or more people. And, we feel good about that. We high-five in the office. We track it. The video, we really don't. But anyway, the highlight video from 2 weeks ago reached 33,000 people. Yeah. This is not of us. There's a powerful movement happening when we're reaching out to the least of these. That's pretty cool. And so I wanted to make sure you're aware of that. Also, just make sure you've gone to the website, you've created your online account through valponaz.org. You can also download the apps and those things. If you volunteer in any capacity throughout this past year, maybe it was one time, 1 hour this year, or maybe you volunteer at least 1 hour every week. Any level, any deal, will you please just stand up? Will you just do that? Humor me. Any volunteer, any capacity. Yeah. Thank you. We believe that this is the oil that makes the machine go. Volunteers. It's people giving of themselves, even maybe when they're a little uncomfortable, do it. But if you could just check out this brief video of volunteers at VNC. We believe in what you're doing, and we believe it makes a change in people's lives. When we're investing in others, something cool happens to us as well. As we wrap up today, as we head into the rest of your day, I want to leave you with this, that I believe that God has called us to live in community together. It's not just something we do. It's just when we are living in community, the good, the bad, the ugly, when we come in together and we begin to love each other, we see each other exactly for who they are, and we love them anyway. There's a verse in Isaiah at the end of chapter 40 that he talks about that it's just where the youth, the young, grow weary, and the old keep pressing on. And it talks about that there are the hopeful and the walkers, the runners and the soarers. that today, as we go into 2017, that we live in this community where we take people exactly where they're at, and we help them to move, take over where the next step is in that spiritual journey. In 2017, we want it to be about the hopeful become walkers, our walkers become runners, and our runners become soarers, and that we live in a loving community together. Something powerful about that. When you and I can now count on each other to have each other's back. Let's pray. Heavenly